Hello, and welcome back to Wine Form. What am I doing with my arms? So, before I even get into it, I went on a little hiatus. It was not planned. I was ill. It really knocked me on my ass, but it was not the corona. It was just the flu. But, you know, I rested anyway because, yep, it knocked me on my ass. So here we are now. We are back, and we are not with flu, which is great. And, yeah, I lost my train of thought. It left. Again. Good lord. Oh well. So, we're back. And we are going to be doing our second installment of Old World versus New World wines. So today we are putting two Malbecs head to head. We are putting an Argentinian Malbec against a French Malbec. So before we taste the wines, let's delve into a little bit of learning so y'all know what we're dealing with here. Malbec is a very dark blue-black sort of grape. It's got either thinner skins and smaller berries, or average skins and larger berries, depending on whether it was grown from an old cutting or a newer cutting. In general, Malbec has a lot of very plummy fruit qualities, similar to Merlot, so similar, not the same, very much not the same. So the expression of Malbec can lean fruitier or more umami, depending on where that Malbec is grown. So in France, Malbec has actually been commonly used as a blending grape in many regions. In fact, it's one of the key grapes of the classic Bordeaux blend. The Bordeaux blend being Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and Carmenere. But Bordeaux is not the only region where Malbec is grown. There's actually a lot. In fact, so many that we're only going to focus on one region where Malbec is particularly ubiquitous. That region is Cahors. Cahors is in the southwest of France on the Lot River, and it's nestled very nicely, like equidistant, between the Atlantic coast and the Mediterranean coast. So this means that the region gets influences from both inland and both coasts in terms of its terroir. Cahors also gets a lot more warmth in the summer than regions like Bordeaux, helping Malbec express itself very well. Cahors wines must be at least 70% Malbec to be considered a Cahors wine. The other grapes most commonly found in Cahors are Tannat and Merlot, but we're just talking about Malbec today. So, other names for Malbec in Cahors are Côte and, oh man, here we go, Auxerrois. However, the grape is increasingly just being referred to as Malbec due to the easy recognizability of that name. Malbec went through a period of falling out of favor in most regions of France due to it needing a very warm climate to grow. It was especially susceptible, and it still is, especially susceptible to cold and damp. So the Great French Wine Blight in the 1860s and the Great Frost of 1956 nearly spelled the end for Malbec in France, but some small plantings and viticulturalists hung on. So now we turn to Argentina, one of the New World countries known for their Malbec. Due to the warmth and the sun there, Malbec tends to be thinner skinned and fruitier. It actually made its way to Chile first in the 1850s, and it didn't get introduced to Argentina until 1868 by Miguel Puget, an agronomist who went to Argentina to help, well, with their vine plantings. So, just like it did in France, Malbec went through a period of decline, but in the 1980s. A lot of rootstock was being ripped up to make way for some more popular varietals at the time. Thankfully, some vintners held on, and Malbec now makes up 1 in every 5 wines in Argentina. So today's Malbec in Argentina is grown in the Uco Valley, Salta, Mendoza, and to a lesser extent in other wine regions within Argentina, but those are the big 3. And depending on which region the Malbec is from, it can range from floral to spicy. So with that in mind, today we are comparing Cédric Heritage 2018 Cahors.
And for this wine, I went to a specialty wine store in my area and I spent $24 on the bottle before tax.
And this one is 100% Malbec. Alamos Malbec.
And once again, for the Alamos, I went to my local liquor outlet and I spent $9.99 on the bottle before tax.
From Mendoza, and it is a 2019 wine. So, kind of like we do when we are tasting more than one wine, we're going to go ahead and get them open, and we are going to evaluate them in tandem instead of one and then the other. So, let's get going. Ah, yes, I have not said this in a while. If you are new here, welcome. Hi, it's good to have you. We do some fun things here. If you like wine, stick around, because guess what? We all love wine. Let's just build a community of wine lovers. But wine lovers who are very open to trying new things or just appreciating that everyone's got different tastes. So definitely hit that subscribe button, and if by the end of the video you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Oh, and leave a comment. Let's interact. I'm gonna have a question for y'all at the end, so definitely become part of the conversation. It's fun. Yeah. Anywho, back to the video. If y'all been here, y'all know the drill, so I'm gonna start with the Cahors, and I've got my handy dandy white sheet of paper. Appearance. Let's go. Alright, so looking at the wine, it is straight up ruby. Like, it's not too blue, it's not too brown. It really does sit right in the middle. The intensity of that color is deep. I definitely cannot see through the middle. It honestly looks kind of like concerningly watery blood. And I did drop a little bit of cork bit in there, but that was my fault. Other than that, clarity, fan-freaking-tastic, and it's just, a red wine is just so aesthetically pleasing, to me at least. And next, we have the Argentinian Malbec. So this one is definitely more on the the color difference is ever so slight, but it's definitely more leaning more purple. It still is a ruby, but I guess it's more of a violet ruby than the Cahors. Yep, definitely what I see. The intensity is also deep, which is very pleasing to me. Clarity is fantastic. Honestly, it's great. And yeah, that's about it. So I did have the flu, but I have recovered. I'm still gonna give it my best go. So now we are going to go ahead and evaluate the nose, starting with Cahors. Okay, so the nose is intense, which is awesome because as I am getting over a cold, I like things that are going to blast my senses in the face. Awaken them again, which is awesome. I did definitely get notes of prunes and dates and cranberries, which was an interesting mix. Fruity, but definitely not the kind of fruity people think of when they're like, I want a fruity wine. But I thought it was cool. It smelled interesting. I did get notes of smoke in there a little bit and like the tiniest hint of what I perceived as mesquite. So, interesting smell. That was the nose. That's Cahors. Now let's go ahead and evaluate the nose for our Argentinian Malbec. Alright, so for the Argentinian Malbec, ooh, ASMR. For the Argentinian Malbec, the nose was once again intense. As for this one, I got more notes of dark cherry and blackberry, and then I definitely got some tobacco and chocolate notes in there, which again, similar. Definitely, they definitely smelled like they're in the same sort of. Well, because both the Cahors and the Argentinian Malbec are both Malbec, they did smell like they kind of fell within the similar aroma families, but the nuance was different, so that was pretty cool. Alrighty, so we have evaluated appearance and nose. Now we evaluate the palate, which means we are going to sip it. That's everyone's favorite part, and it's my favorite part as well. Actually, I lied. I like the whole I like all of it, but like, I'm getting beside myself. So now we are going to go ahead and evaluate the palate, and again, starting with the Cahors. Cheers! Alright, so for the Cahors palate, I tasted everything I smelled. That makes it easy. Moving on, the tannin felt very high. I gotta say, the sensation of the tannin felt a little bit like licking limestone. Geologists might know what I'm talking about, so if you're out there, there you go. The acidity felt medium, which I found interesting. Perhaps I just have a different tolerance for acidity, but to me it felt medium. It also felt like a medium-bodied wine. It was lighter than I thought it would be. And in terms of the finish, it had a long finish. It really did. Oh, and also the alcohol felt high. I have to mention that. And let's see. Yep. 14.1% alcohol, so I was right. It's high. Oh, and finally, it is dry. Very, very dry. So, Cahors. We are going to give the Argentinian Malbec a sip. Cheers. Alrighty, so for the Argentinian Malbec, once again, tasted everything I smelled. Fantastic, saves us time. In terms of tannin, this one felt medium. The sensation of the tannin kind of felt like licking felt. Weird, but alright. And the acidity also felt, no, the acidity felt high, which makes sense. And it was dry. What else am I forgetting? Oh yes, the finish was medium, and it also felt medium-bodied. Overall, this one definitely it fell on the fruitier end than the Cahors, so...
Also, editing Alessandra would like to add that the alcohol for the Argentinian Malbec was high at 13.5%.
Interesting. Okay, so in terms of similarities and differences, the Cahors and the Argentinian Malbec kind of fall in the same range, which is good because they're both Malbec. What I will say though is that the Cahors Malbec definitely leaned a little bit less fruity than the Argentinian Malbec, and the Argentinian Malbec leaned more acidic than the Cahors Malbec. Expression overall, again, similar. However, something that also fascinated me was those secondary and tertiary aromas and flavors. Definitely, they were different. The Cahors expressed itself more in the form of, well, classic wood qualities, characteristics, and the Argentinian Malbec's sort of tertiary, secondary and tertiary aromas, flavors, leaned again more like a cigar and some chocolates, which makes sense to me. I did find it very interesting how, yes, the Argentinian Malbec is younger than the Cahors Malbec. Argentinian Malbec is from 2019, Cahors is from 2018, and they are from different hemispheres, so there is a 6 month difference. Harvest 2018. Okay, got it. Also beyond that, because they, Cahors and Argentinian Malbec, France and Argentina are in different hemispheres, so their harvest season and their wine making cycle is different. The southern hemisphere is 6 months behind the northern hemisphere, just in terms of the year, because in the northern hemisphere we harvest in September, October, generally, and in the southern hemisphere they will harvest in April-ish. Yeah. So yes, another difference. Fascinating. In terms of what I would pair these both with, I do think that it is a little easier to pair the Argentinian Malbec with more food because it does lean fruitier. It won't be overwhelmed per se by any more umami sort of foods, which, yeah. The Cahors I definitely can see pairing with things that are a bit more bitter, have more bitter spices. I do think that if there's too much sweetness in that dish is going to overpower this wine. So I'm picturing like, I'm not a fan of lamb, but I know that a lot of people are, and I can see, and I don't fault them for it, like if you like lamb, cool. I can see the Cahors working very well with any sort of lamb dish, bitter herbs like and things like thyme and rosemary, sumac, just definitely less spicy and more aromatic. I can see this Cahors working with dishes like that. Oh, and Brussels sprouts. That would be really good. But not like the steamed kind. It's gotta be the roasted kind. My mom has a great recipe for that. It's a secret. Argentinian Malbec, I can see working with, like Brazilian barbecue. Oh my god, that would be so good. Maybe I'm just like craving Brazilian barbecue, but that stuff is great. Argentinian Malbec would work with Brazilian barbecue. But yeah, I am appreciative. I'm appreciative of wines from both regions. I don't really prefer one over the other. I think it just depends on what I'm eating and what I'm in the mood for. So there you have it. All in all, I'm just excited to be back, to have use of my senses again, and to be tasting wine and filming to share with you guys. God, this helps me feel normal, I gotta say. So it's so good to be back to it. So thank y'all for joining me, and again, I will see y'all again in 2 weeks. I do not plan on getting sick, taking those immunosupplements, so we are doing our best here. I gotta leave y'all with a parting question, and you know, I think this time I will answer, like, I'll put my answer in the comments. What is your favorite thing about autumn? I am very curious because it's autumn and it's a lovely season. I love all the seasons, but I really love autumn. So what's your favorite thing about autumn? And I will leave y'all with that and see you again in 2 weeks.